What's up, knife freaks? All right, guys, we get quite a few questions about people disassembling their Mac 2s and putting them back together. They have a little bit of difficulty. They're fairly simple, but they can be a little finicky if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to do a quick video today and show you how to do that. So hope it'll help. Mac 2 3.5 frag. This one's unfinished, so don't pay too much attention to it yet. But so here's what we're going to do to take it apart. Super simple and easy. I take the 2 frame screws, back them out until they're completely loose, but don't take them out. I put my finger over them, finger and thumb maybe, flip them over like that so they don't fall out. Take the pivot screw completely out. Kind of jimmy the lock side off. It should come loose from the stop pin and the pivot. Then pull the blade off, pull the 2 standoffs off, let those screws fall out, bearings fall out. If you want to take the pivot out, take it out, take the stop pin out. All right, that's it, completely disassembled. All right, to reassemble, this pivot on the standard pivots for these, this is one piece, okay? The head of the pivot and the barrel are all made from one piece, so don't try to take this out thinking it's a screw. We've had that happen. There's no reason to fool with that. Just one solid piece. Put that in first. Then I like to take the 2 body screws, drop them in. I kind of hold them with my fingers while I flip it over. Just reverse everything. Put the standoffs back on there, or the back spacer if you've got a back spacer. The stop pin, you want to put it in and press on it pretty good. Make sure it's seated good, okay? Put the bearing in. Now, one thing I didn't mention, it technically probably doesn't make any difference, but we always put the pivot barrel, the pivot through the show side, okay? And then we put the screw on the lock side. So that just seems to work best for us. So the bearing's in, blade next. Carefully, I kind of hold up on it and bring it around. You do not want to do this with the blade in the open position, okay? You can do it in the half open position if you want. If you're worried about scratching the blade or the handle there where they rub together, slip you a piece of paper in between there and let it lay on that. That's totally fine, but it most likely will not go back together correctly if you try to put it together in the open position, okay? That's probably where most of the problems that people run into are coming from. All right, so I like to take it completely closed like that. Put that bearing on. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to center the pivot in the hole on this side. I'm also feeling for the stop pin to make sure it's getting seated in the hole on the block side. Once I feel they're both seated, take the pivot screw, snug it up. I'm not super tightening it, I'm just basically turning it until it kind of stops. Reach under, flip it while kind of holding those screws, keep them from falling out. Tighten them most of the way down. I basically tighten them till they stop and back them off a tiny bit. Now I'm going to look, I'm going to adjust the pivot. What I normally do is take it till it stops, not trying to force it past where it stops, just where it stops on its own, and then the tiniest little bit, basically just break it loose, the tiniest bit, probably not even an eighth of a turn. All right, I'm going to check the centering, see if that looks good. I'm going to tighten up these 2 body screws. This is super important, guys. Do not over tighten these small little 256 body and clip screws, okay? We've been getting a lot of people breaking the heads off their screws, and I'll be completely honest with you, we put these things in by the thousands. We take them in and out all day long, every day, the exact same screws that we're sending you guys, and we almost never break a screw. We break one of these screws maybe once every 2 months, maybe, probably not even that. So if you're breaking the head off the screw, I can pretty much guarantee you that you're over tightening it. You may not think you are, but you are, okay? So all it takes is just tightening out till it stops, and then just a tiny little bit of pressure beyond that, not any more than that. These things almost, even without Loctite, they almost never like back out or get loose. So there's no reason to be cranking down on them, okay? So then I'm going to open it up. I'm going to make sure there's no side-to-side play. If there is a little bit of side-to-side play, that means you've got the pivot too loose. You need to tighten it up just a little bit. In this case, there was absolutely none. And the action, I don't have thumb studs on this one, it's not finished, so the action is good. It's opening and closing the way I want it to. No side-to-side play, and it's centered, so it's good. So the one step I did leave out is putting Loctite on it, okay? And a lot of times I will wait and I'll do this, and then I'll go back and take out one screw at a time and put Loctite on them. starting with the pivot screw. Now on the pivot screw, you want to be careful not to over Loctite it, okay? I take and put a little bit on there, and then I take and I kind of like roll it on a paper towel to get off the excess, so there's just a little bit in the threads. If you get very much on there, when you tighten it down, that Loctite is going to squeeze up around those threads, and it's going to squeeze up and come out of the pivot, and it's going to get in your action, and it's going to muck everything up. So, okay, so you go back, get that pivot basically right back where we had it, and you can put the Loctite on in the very beginning if you're confident everything's going to go together well, but either way. So then I just back these out one at a time. Or like I said, you can go ahead and put Loctite on all of them at the same time if you would like. And then just put a little, these, they're not as sensitive. If you want to give them a good dose, go right ahead. But again, we have almost no trouble with these backing out even before we put the Loctite on them. So you do that on those two screws. Again, do not over tighten until it stops. Give it just a tiny little bit of pressure. You're good. That's all it needs on that and the clip screws. All right, so that's it. It's back together, working good. The action's right. No blade play, all good. So hope that helps, guys. Hit us up in the comments or send us an email if you have any trouble or you have any more questions about this, and we'll be glad to try to help. Have a great day, guys.